season, nothing rhymes with church. Fa la 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 la. Don we now our trail apparel. Fa la 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 la. Roll the battery down and uphill. Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la.
Kia ora koutou, meri kira himiti. I'm Matt Raymond.
And I'm Eugene Bingham.
Oh, and I'm Andrew McDowall. Hi.
This is Dirt Church Radio. Interesting conversations with interesting runners. Andrew, you want to pass Santa a beer? It's episode 173 and we made it.
We did. Boy, have we made it. We're back in Andrew McDowall's studio for the second year in a row. He's had us back.
Well, we invited him to invite us.
Yeah, that's right. But he even built us a new studio. It's very, very flash. Thanks, DigiCake.
Yeah, you're very, very welcome, guys. Every time I put a new nail in the wall, I thought of you guys.
Yeah. It's very nice. It's comfy. We've got comfy chairs. We're recording things. What do you want?
You can see outside.
Well, it's really not. I mean, the last time we were really much, we were in kind of the urban jungle. And this time we're more in sort of
in the concrete bunker.
Concrete bunker. And this time, you know, there's fronds and ferns and dogs and children and
paintings.
Oh, West Coast paintings.
West Coast painting.
Christmas present.
Very stoked about that.
Thanks, Emma.
Doesn't work so well on a podcast.
You just imagine it. Visualize it.
It's very cool.
Close your eyes and visualize a painting of the West Coast.
Yeah.
And the nice West Coast, not the West Coast of the South.
That's right. That's right. Oh, did I say? I retract that. That's right. I take that back. I don't know him. Who are you? Right. Anyway, but thank you, Andrew.
You're
and
welcome. It's lovely to have you fellas back. Has it been a year? Nothing's happened.
I know.
No, what's going on? I mean, we're back here because this is becoming a bit of a Christmas tradition for us, end of year show. And we do like to, you know, we are fancy men. We like to get a bit fancy. And this year we're also trialing a new concept, which is we decided on whether either going to be the Dirties or the Churchies. We decided on the Churchies.
Did we?
Yeah.
Did we though?
The Dirties is just a bit.
Oh, yeah. True.
But can they be the dirty churchies?
Well, that's just the Dirt Churches.
We'll figure this one out later.
We'll figure it out in the post. But it's recognising great performances and unsung moments from throughout the year. And one day we'd like to have an actual awards ceremony, but, you know.
Is that a black tie thing?
I don't know.
Or is it like trail shoes?
Black tie, but with the running shorts. And the long socks.
Yeah, and trail shoes.
I actually would bet that after the past year, there's been some people listening that have rocked that combo at home for Zoom drinks on a Friday.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll run through a bunch of categories, and we asked for feedback, and boy, we got a bunch of it. So we'll run through that and what people had to say, and then share our own thoughts. And we're also going to catch up with the one and only Ruth Croft because, you know, she's had a year.
Yeah, she's had a hell of a year, really, hasn't she?
Yeah. Hey, it was pretty cool to catch up with Dr. Mickey Willardon last week. Felt like last year now. And with those Christmas tips as well, I feel I can get through.
You've only got 5 days to go. You're going to make it?
I'm going to make it. Yeah. I'm going to make it. Yeah. I'm going to make it through. I think I have 3 days of Christmas, really.
Ooh.
You know. Eugene was discussing with me his 72-hour Christmas extravaganza.
Christmas-a-thon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
approaching it like an ultra.
It is the 200-miler of Christmases this year.
Anyway, but thanks to Mickey's
mate.
advice, I feel like I can make it.
I think we had a lot of feedback from Mickey's episode, and it's that sense of like, stuff like nutrition, it does hit home to people. It's never just, or maybe it's rare people where people can look at food or nutrition without any kind of judgment or inner bias, and I think she straddles that line between informative and supportive really, really well.
But also that advice about actually building it into your training plan, your race nutrition, thinking about it, not just a week out or whatever, but actually trying to embed it into your training. Are you very good at doing that sort of stuff, Andrew?
Sometimes.
Being the gun runner amongst us?
Well, the problem is, like, when my stomach turns to custard, it's usually like 10 or 11 hours into a run, and I feel fantastic up to then. It's pretty hard to sort of get an idea of what works and what doesn't work unless you go and do another 12-hour run or whatever. So, and it feels random sometimes. You know, I'll have a great race, and then I'll do exactly the same thing the next time, and I'll have all sorts of stomach issues, and so you're sort of trying to work it out. So
Yeah.
it's tricky, especially once you go beyond a certain amount of time. I think all bets are off sometimes.
And it was interesting hearing her talk about, I mean, not to sort of replay the whole conversation last week, but hearing her talk about the impact of environment on, like temperature.
Yes, temperature, definitely.
All sorts of different factors that so that explains to me why it can be great one race or even training, and then the next week, I did exactly the same. What's happened? It's gone to custard, but maybe it's lack of sleep, maybe it's the temperature, maybe it's stress, all sorts of factors that.
That's what keeps it so
interesting.
interesting.
Thing, isn't it? Yeah,
it's that challenge.
I mean, if we could have worked it out, we would have worked it out by now. Yeah. I'm sure. Look, this is a shout-out, and we've been quiet on this over the last few months because we understand, it's been a bit hectic. But to our Patreon patrons, we just wanted to say a special Christmas thank you, and just a general thank you to those of us who support us on Patreon. It's really helped keep the lights on this year, helped us cover costs like the website domain and gear, and just the general ephemera of putting a podcast together. We didn't get to go to as many events this year as we'd like to, thanks COVID. There seems to be a theme, with that. Us doing races and them getting or us wanting to do races, signing up for the training and then them getting cancelled. But next year, we're hoping to get to a few more to catch up with guests and everyone really and party, and the Patreon patrons really help us do that. So if you want to set up a regular donation or make a one-off, you can find us at patreon.com/DirtChurchRadio. But if that's not in your wheelhouse, it's totally cool too. We're here for all. Right.
Indeed. Okay. This is a jingle we play here, Andrew.
Which one?
Stuff you should know.
You should
Do you know we had a...
we did them live last year, didn't we?
We did them live. We harmonised terribly, but we should probably just...
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
It's not in tune.
It's not in tune.
Okay.
Do you know I actually did have a woman write in and say...
Please don't do that ever again.
No, what are you saying?
There's
a part and it sounds like silence. No.
Stuff you should know.
With a K, N-O-W. Anyway, right. Speaking of people's generosity, we had a silent auction over the weekend.
Yeah, we got... You're probably, as the professional audio engineer, going, God damn, he says we lot.
You want me to edit out every we that you say? Is that
just regardless of context. Yeah,
okay.
Out of every sentence. No more we's.
Cool.
People's generosity, we had Mark and Phoebe from 0 to 20 Sports Company. They just sent us this massive load of tailwind. I got an email from Mark saying, hey, we want to pay something forward. We'll send you 2 800 gram packets of the green tea buzz, which I understand is being retired. It's being put out to pasture. It's autographed, no less, by the makers of Tailwind, the founders, and a whole bunch of sticks and hats and all sorts of stuff like that. And we had a silent auction. We put up a rather horrifying video on the internet, and people responded to it, and they... Are you like, no? Is that a nod? Is that an affirmative nod? Or are you validating?
Eugene looked like the late singer from the House of Shem with that hat on. That's what I was reminded of. Anyway, sorry.
And I was also a string vest.
Perkins?
I was wearing a string vest as well.
The Wellington Marathon Clinic string vest.
Didn't think that through when I realised that we were going to.
You're a trendsetter, mate. It's beautiful.
It's from the 90s.
I look like just imminently pre-heart attack Macho Man Randy Savage.
Anyway, we're off track here.
We're off track. Look, we're off the rails. So we auctioned this off with all proceeds raised being donated to New Zealand Women's Refuge. It was a silent auction, so we asked people to send us some bids via email, and we got some great bids. So the winning bid was from...
Drum roll, please. James Stewart, $150.
Yeah, $150.
Yeah, awesome.
And
kawaii.
Because it's such a good cause and it's important, and it's a real issue. What we've decided to do is we will match that. So we'll chip in another $150. So that is $300 going to New Zealand Women's Refuge. So thanks to James.
Yeah.
And thanks to Mark and Phoebe Tailwind and 0 to 20 Sports Company.
Right. DCR, year in review. We've got a little a little bit of thing to play, a little highlights package. Listen to that. That's a jingle.
Thank you.
Of some of the highlights of the year, of the DCR year. So I think we should probably play that now. Roll tape.
Kia ora tātou. That was the start line of the Tarawera Ultramarathon 100-mile race. I'm Matt Raymond.
And I'm Eugene Bingham.
This is Dirt Church Radio. Interesting conversations with interesting runners.
And suddenly, this pukeko just
Oh my God.
jumped out of the brush, and Smudge, who had run 160 plus kilometres at that stage, he managed to jump like a man who'd just got out of bed, jumped out of the way. The bird attacked me. Came straight at me.
I mean,
It was a very, very angry pukeko.
for those of you who perhaps are from overseas or have never seen a pukeko, I encourage you to Google it. It's like it's a blue and purple
Chicken.
bush chicken. And did it get your wallet or?
Held me up, had a gun. No, it basically had a go at my legs. It was kind of funny, but kind of scary.
Congratulations on your amazing result at Western States. And thank you for taking a break from your recovery to join us. I mean, we really appreciate it.
It's easy. Yeah, I can use my mouth instead of my legs. Yeah, I just was not feeling good. And then after the race, we also had to go do doping control. And so it was like the top 5 men and women. We all had to pee, and I was just so dehydrated. So getting us to do that after you've run 100 miles was a bit rough. And then, yeah, everyone's pee looked like Guinness as well.
Oh. Talk about blood out of a stone. My goodness me.
Yeah. And it was just like, I don't know. It's just such like the finish line for me. It was the state that we were all in at the finish line. It was kind of because we're all ultra runners and that, and most of us are, and so like it's all self-inflicted in that. But then if you're an outsider seeing the state of all of us at that finish line, I would just because even I was it was a sad state of affairs, to be honest.
Who had it tougher, Megan or you?
Oh, for sure, me. I've run Hard Rock 3 times, and reporting on it straight through is definitely tougher.
Yeah.
And plus, you're not out there running in a beautiful mountaintop, which
True.
I've been out there and I'm empty and just drained, and there's nowhere I'd rather be.
And I guess that was also the seed of why I wanted to do this work, was because it was like there's a whole lot of research and people keep researching, and we do all these research and these interviews and we hear young people and they share their ideas and their voices, but no one actually does anything about it. And because I'm a get shit done kind of person, it was like, well, here's the research. We know this stuff. Now let's do something about it.
Greatest run ever.
Greatest run ever, one of the most popular parts of our show, which is the part of the show where we ask you to write into us.
Can I just say, 150 episodes ago, or
Yeah.
it was more than 150 episodes ago, we talked about doing this. I thought we might get 5. To think that 150 shows later, people still sending us greatest runs ever. Sorry, I distracted you. Carry on.
No, it's a good one. I mean, a greatest run ever, it doesn't have to be that time you came second at Western States. It might just be a run around the block, something that's sung to you for some reason. You can send them in to us, as always, at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. This is the shortest. This is the shortest ever. Greatest run ever. Malcolm Barr, and it's a snapshot from Strava. And now I understand something. I mean, I will be the first to admit I'm not a cricket aficionado.
Well, it was June 24th at 5:28 a.m. Does that give you any clues?
I understand some people, a few people got quite excited.
Does that give you a clue? June 24th.
We won.
Great day.
We won the World Test Championships.
We did.
And that was the first time in the World Test Championships, and it was against India, who
Yes.
I understand
So they're like the All
are
Blacks.
quite good at cricket.
They're like the All Blacks of cricket.
Right.
And we're like France of cricket because we always manage to tip over India in big tournaments.
Right.
And sure enough, so Malcolm, June the 24th,
Yeah.
he gets out.
I watched the last few overs of the World Test Cricket Championship final during the first couple of kilometres with phone in hand. Let out quite a few loud whoops, sorry, sleeping people, and a couple of tears. Oh, sweet. Lots of people got really emotional, lots of crying people. Spent the rest of the run listening to the players being interviewed. A magic morning, quite cold too. That's it.
Thanks, Malcolm.
That
was a goodie. Anyway.
He's lucky he wasn't run down.
True. What, for whooping?
No, for just like watching his phone.
Watching his phone.
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't trip up. Anyway, that's a really, really special thank you. And the rest of you, keep sending them in. Thanks, Ricky.
Church Radio.
I'd forgotten about the Pukeko. Oh, how could I have forgotten?
It seems like this year has been inordinately long and actually set into chapters. If this was a film, it would be chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Like very, very, very specific. I remember standing on the finish line of the Tarawera with Euge, and we were commentating, and there were people on their phones going, there was the Iron Man staff. They were going, oh God, looking at the thing that we might be getting. There was cases, and there's been some community spread.
Yeah.
And were they going to have to cut the race off before the people got in? And I was like, nah, we'll be fine. We're through it. Just be careful and keep your heads. And then by the time I'd driven back, because we had our team photo, dropped mics, and literally we ran to our cars and took off back to Auckland. By the time we got back, going through the Waterview Tunnel, Rebecca rang me. She's like, we're in level 3 tomorrow. I was like, what? That was the first one.
It can't have been this year.
It was. It was in February. And then March. So then we came out of it. And then March, standing on the beach up at Helena Bay, taking photos of the full moon, thinking, okay, next week we've got Riverhead Rampage. And then everyone's phone went ding, 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 ding. And that was the second one. And then,
that wasn't even the big one.
No.
Yeah.
And in August. And here we are, just sort of.
But it has dragged, hasn't it? And it's made this year weird time shifting. I was looking back through our episodes this year. We did the Sports Lab live show this year. Remember that? It does not seem like this year at all. But that was fun. That was cool. Yeah. And it was great to hear from some, actual experts, apart from, as opposed to us just muntering on each week. We got to speak to some actual experts who had some really good advice. That was, and it was good to actually get into a live event, and catch up with people once we sorted that speaker out.
Oh, man. Yeah, see, I've got a little PTSD from that. There's some technical issues that night.
This is the thing, isn't it? You sort of, it seems odd being two of the three of us played live for many, many years and thinking next time we do a live podcast, we've got to do a rehearsal. Like that. I'd never thought that you'd need to rehearse a podcast, but yeah, absolutely.
Because it's the same thing. It's mics and speakers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, Andrew, how was your year? How was your year in Athletica?
Oh.
In the sports and otherwise?
Yeah. You enter a lot of races and you have a lot of hope, and of course not all of them come off. But it was pretty choice. That Tarawera one was good. I didn't run it, but I managed to catch up with lots of people and I ran with a lot of people at the end.
I remember you come, like this man sort of loomed out of the darkness at me. It was about 4 a.m, and you're like, "Hey, how are you?" I was like, "Oh, dude, did you just finish?" I kind of called you over because there's not that many people. You're like, "No, I'm just pacing people from the redwoods to."
Very important work. Very important
work. And I'm like, how many people are you pacing? It's like, well, it depends on who wants to be paced. So you're just jumping out on people.
Gun for hire.
I mean, there were people I knew, but it was, yeah. Hey, man,
hey, how are you?
This is the guy who turned up with a recorder when I came in for his 100. So he's got form.
It is a special event.
But second at Northburn.
Yes, that was great.
Like, far out.
And the good thing is I can dine off that one for ages because there's been no other races.
Yeah.
They've all been cancelled.
But that's a great one for the CV as well,
Oh, look, it was just a great day. That was one of those, talk about things not going wrong, if you like. Everything just kind of clicked. So it was a great time. I'm going back again, of course. So I want to try and crack that 24. I'm close, so it'd be great to crack 24. Relapse, my dog tried to kill me 8 days before the race, so that didn't go so well, but still, it was nice to be there. Great atmosphere.
Yeah, it was
relapse
poor.
always.
It was such a poor choice. In hindsight, I was like, you ran that with a traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, it was a poor choice.
And you did well. And I was kind of like, I'm not mad at it. You know?
Yeah, no, it was okay. As soon as it started to rain really heavily and got really bad, I decided it was best to stop. It's funny to stop a race just through common sense rather than you can't move anymore or anything like that.
And by that time, your concussion had probably worn off because it had been like for a good 15 hours.
Time for a new brain. And then basically the rest of the year was written off. There was supposed to be 200 miler at Naseby, which had been great. You know, teach the South Islanders a bit of a lesson. Blue Lake, teach those guys a lesson. And
Instead, we got to watch them do it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Including that backside shot. Is it
That was Dougie, wasn't it?
Has it ever been identified?
You see, when the civilised people aren't there, look what happens.
Is it it's either Suter or Dougie, isn't it? And probably Suter.
It's Dougie.
Was that?
Yeah, it's Dougie. It's got to be. And obviously 24-hour champs didn't happen, but we did our little Ambury Farm thing, which was great instead. So nice to get a little 100-mile PB in there, which is something that I've been...
12-hour, 100K.
Yes, 12-hour, 100K, 100-mile, yeah.
PBs, yeah.
And it wasn't that easy a circuit. Like, it was hard on the body.
Man,
Lost some toenails.
Who would have thought that going to a coastal regional park, it would be windy and rainy, you know, like exposed to the elements? Who would have guessed?
It was a challenge. It was a good challenge.
But, you know,
we asked for.
the logistics we faced, being able to even get it done, and, you know, Sean really stepped up, didn't he, and being able to get us...
He was more disappointed than us. Like, he was, you know, when we said we're sort of done, he's just like, oh, really? I really felt like I'd let him down.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that was great. Good people. And then, so I guess, next year's all about trying to fill in all those gaps that got left. But
What are you interested in?
Everything. No. So Tarawera Miler, Northburn Miler, relapse.
Going to do the double.
Triple. If it all goes well, and it's, I don't know how it's South Sydney 24-hour. Naseby 200, Blue Lake, going for an Auckland Marathon PB, and then the Wild.
Wow. Hey, what about round the bays? You missed out around the bays.
Riverhead Rampage.
Obviously that one. That's a training run. It's good though.
Yeah. It's a training run.
Yeah.
Come round. That's actually I'll put that on the shirt for the 9th year. Riverhead Rampage. It's a training run.
It's a great hit out.
Wow.
A great little hit out.
Yeah, great little hit out.
That's a little jog. Yeah. So that's my year
Your dance
review.
card's full.
And next year. I mean, I'm excited. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would have been nice if I would have been saying Western States and hard rock, but to be honest, maybe waiting another year might be a little bit.
I think it might be a good
less complicated.
The travel. I mean, you know, it's gonna be complicated next year as well, isn't it? Yeah. Matt, what about you? How was your year?
Yeah, my year's been terrible. I can't, like, I just reflecting and I know this is sort of, hey, like, I'm irritable, I'm tired, it's been a really tough year. And I think lots of people are feeling like that. Like, running's been really good. You know, there's been the frustration of, like, Blue Lake got cancelled, Kepler got moved, you know, all that sort of stuff. And then, you know, I felt that sort of sense of frustration of almost wanting to fit something in to say I'd done something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, having these massive swings of motivation and these massive swings of, sort of like, this is amazing, it's really helpful. And it has, you know, in all honesty, running has really saved my mind this year. You know, if there's ever a year I was going to tip over, and I don't want it to be dramatic or anything, but, you know, this has been the year in terms of the stress on the healthcare system, you know, the sort of ongoing, and then, you know, rubbing up against Delta quite a few times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had that experience where we were literally about to start interviewing Harita Davies, and your phone went. Yeah. And then you just had to drop and run, didn't you?
And I did.
And that was, and I mean, I was scared, and because it was all on. It was like a big scare, and it was like I had to kind of talk to Rita going, oh, how's your mate doing? But, that was, you've been through some...
Yeah, and that was the start of a 9-day stretch for me. I was like, got to go. And 9 days later, I was like, yay, day off. That's not to say, like, I've had it comparatively easy to lots and lots of people. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Just, I feel that sort of, I'm looking for, if I have one thing, I have massive amounts of hope for next year, that things do kind of, and it's almost like, regardless of your, people sort of yearn for this normal, whatever that looks like, but moving sort of through this. And I wish I had a more kind of succinct or snappy, Kepler got canned, Blue Lake got canned, race-directed relapse, that was awesome. Race-directed Riverine, that was awesome. But so I guess for me, next year, what I want to do is more racing. So I want to do the dual marathon, Rotorua Road Marathon, 24 hours, and then the marathon at the 24 hours, and then
at Blue Lake.
Oh, gotcha.
And then Kepler. That's the goal race.
Lovely.
Because that'll be my 5th year. So yeah,
Get the medal.
That's me. What about you, Eugene?
Well, I had fun down at Tarawera. We got to MC, which was great.
That was good.
It was good fun, and I got to pace. I'd never done it in a 100-mile race before, and it was great too. I remember seeing you, Andrew, when I was about to go out to catch up with them at
Okatona.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Oh, you needed a ride, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, I was panicking, going, I've got to get out there, and you're going, dude, you've got plenty of time.
You're good.
And I did.
You did have plenty.
I did have plenty of time. In fact, I had time once I got out there to have a sleep. But it was actually great being out there and watching people come through and catching up with people, seeing Ian and Kirk and others come through, and Tom, and then being able to actually bring the team home. It was good fun being attacked by a pukeka, of course. That was a highlight. We went and ruined Wutu because we entered a race together.
We did Wutu.
We entered a race together, which just puts the cogwash on any race. So that was washed out. But nonetheless, Gareth and the team put on that alternative course, and it was epic fun. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Wildest conditions I've ever run in, and I've run in some horrible conditions in Wellington before, but this was just something else. And we had fun together, didn't we? We just kind of. It was cool. We just hung out. Spike Havice, he was a highlight down there. How cool was that little guy? He just monstered it, running along with Fiona when they ran past us. That was pretty cool. So I enjoyed that. And then we went into lockdown as I was getting into my sort of quote-unquote serious training for my 24-hour, which I wanted to do on the track. And I think it honestly was the best thing, because that type of training, I didn't have to be fretting that I wasn't in the mountains or whatever. I just needed to be running somewhere. And the fact that I couldn't go far meant that I could literally go up to my local park, up the road on a 200-mile circuit. It's a 200-meter circuit.
Very hard.
And just run around and around and around. And that was actually perfect training. And so that kind of kept me going during lockdown. And then we had our event, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
quote unquote, a fail, a DNF. None of us got to 24 hours, but I really, really enjoyed it. And Sean was amazing hanging out the night for us. Like you say, he was so disappointed. I felt like letting Dad down, didn't it? I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
And Tom Hunt running about 75 Ks just for fun,
just
to hang out.
Yeah, smashed it out.
Guy
Yeah,
he is.
Ian Fernside ran.
He ran 6 hours.
Yeah,
58.
Yeah. And actually, I learnt something there. Sean, before the race, whatever it was, before the event, before we started running, came up to me, and that, how he can sometimes get that stern look in his eye and just kind of look you in the eye and say, "What's your why? What's your why?" And I was sort of, we'd sort of been joking. I was like, ha, 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 yeah. And it's like, I said, no, you're going to need to know your why. And it wasn't until later on in the race I realised that my why wasn't really a why. My why, the whole reason I was doing it was because I wanted to run 100 miles in less than 24 hours. And once that started to become, it was looking like it was going to be a real touch and go, that actually put me off. Because I was thinking, I don't want to be out here for 24 hours and do, 130 53K or something, I'm going to be disappointed. So I realised there is a difference between a goal and a why. So that event actually taught me something. There's a difference. You can't hang everything on a goal, like a time goal or a distance goal like that, because when that starts to turn to custard, why are you there? And that's what I started to doubt, when we caught up, and we were both pretty broken, weren't we? And it was pouring down with rain. It was 2:00 in the morning. It was like, why are we out here? Yeah. And I didn't have an answer.
Looking at that course, I'm sorry. Looking at that course when I came out with the girls to see you, I was like, this is super hard. Even walking it, it's like it's off camber. It's hard on the feet. It doesn't make sense. It's not a circle, so you can't see anyone else. It's got several dog legs. It ends at a twitching hide, and then you gotta run back.
I was very much sorer than most 100-mile runs after that.
Yeah.
It took a long time to.
Well, my feet were beaten up worse than ever. I've never had feet beaten up like that. But anyway, I learnt something. So I can say from this year of chaos and trash that, I had some good times with some good friends. I got some focus training done that kind of saved my mental health, not using that in an overdramatic way, during lockdown. And I learnt something, that there's a difference between a goal and your why. So, I'll take that. Shall we get on with the bit we actually promised?
Oh.
The churchies.
Yes. Great. I'm
we
excited.
We should, yeah. I'm sorry, I feel like I sort of bummed it out.
No way.
Should have been more hopeful there.
No.
More kind of put a pot. I'd forgotten about W2K. This is how my year's on. I was like, I did W2K. That was really good. Yeah. We also, and I guess the thing is too, like Eugene, we did a podcast every week.
Yeah.
Bar one.
Yeah.
Where we both went away to our respective corners and had a bit of a mental breakdown.
Well done, chaps.
We did a podcast every week.
And we got lots of people who say to us, thank you for doing that. It's been really helpful during. So, definitely glad that we could be here for people. So.
Yeah. And that was a massive, I think that's the thing, isn't it? That was a massive bright spot for me. It's like every week I get to do this.
And we got to catch up, even though we weren't being able to see each other, we could at least jump on Zoom and do this and have a bit of fun, have a few laughs, and just have a catch up and a chat. It was good. It was really good.
And your audio was only sometimes terrible.
Yeah, that's right. We only got abusive emails from Andrew once every 3 weeks. Yeah. So that was good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
We sorted it out. We sorted it out in the end. Yeah. Right, the churchies.
Yes.
So we asked you for nominations. And we were looking for Performance of the Year in Aotearoa, Performance of the Year by Kiwi Overseas, New Zealand Aotearoa Race of the Year as defined by Vibe, Atmosphere, and Non-Race Adventure / FKT of the Year. And we got heaps of responses.
We did. So we got, we should run through what people had to say.
Yeah. And then we can talk about our own kind of, what we think are the highlights.
Category by category, yeah.
Look, Performance of the Year in New Zealand.
So the so Chris Morsley, he put Ruth Croft second at Western States for his favourite performance by Kiwi Overseas. Brooke Thomas, Kiwi at Home. Favourite race. Sorry, he didn't have favourite rice. He didn't write in with his favourite rice.
White.
The Mount Oxford Odyssey. And favourite FKT or non-race adventure by an individual. Ryan Carr.
Yeah.
Yeah, which pretty good nominations. Simo, Ruth's performance at Tarawera and her maiden mile at Western States are up there for him. With Courtney's UTMB run.
I didn't know she was from New Zealand, but it's cool. People get excited. It's a good thing, and it does show. Like we were talking about, you hear in our discussion with Ruth. Some of the Western States, the amount of women in the top 10, just absolutely incredible. Stephen Bates, favourite performance by Kiwi Overseas. No surprise here. Ruth Croft stepping up and crushing it. Kiwi at Home, Katie Wright and Fiona Hayvice, Tarawera 100-mile finish. He says, yes, there was one winner, but come on, who was picking sides on that one? Favourite race in New Zealand has to be the W2K 2021 with the rain, which I feel will go down in the history books. Overseas, loved the coverage of UTMB. And favourite non-race by an individual, Brooke Thomas on Te Araroa. Incredible.
I can't believe that was this year.
That
one feels like a long time.
This has been 400 Earth years long, this 2021. The longest year on record.
Harding, Ruth at home and abroad, and add Scotty overseas too. Luke McCullum, Ruth Croft. Any questions you ask, Ruth is my answer.
We got one from Caitlin Fielder as well. Same thing, was just Ruth Croft.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So Stephanie Parks, Scotty singing that CCC.
Yep.
Awesome to watch, and that was awesome to watch. The emotion of that finish. I mean, he's a pretty emotive dude anyway with finish lines, but incredible. Rosa Scott, Ruth Croft second at Western States.
Kitty Portaka, Ruth Croft, Western States, Ruth Croft, Tarawera, Caitlin Fielder, Golden Ultra, which was great seeing her getting out amongst it this year, and racing in those Euro races was fantastic.
So, talks about the Sinister 7.
No.
Don't know. I think it might. And then the favourite non-race was Dudes Run in the West Coast Trail, Vancouver Island, south to north, as we were hiking south. So maybe Sinister 7 is a Canadian race. Lewis Marama, Tarawera, and watching Ruth Croft smash the 102, followed by the ding dong between Katie and Fiona. Truly riveting, also pacing my cousin to her first 100-mile finish. Emotional and inspirational.
That's cool.
King Kunal. Yeah. Favourite performance overseas, Ruth Croft, Western States. At home, Katie Wright, Tarawera 100 mile. Favourite race, Tarawera 100 mile. And Riverhead Rampage for him personally as well.
It's a great training run.
Great hit out.
Favourite FKT, Ruahines, FKT, Ellie and Katie.
He thinks his answers are a bit biased, but I mean, this is and not to spoil the end, but I think we're noticing a theme here.
Yeah. Amanda Welsh, I fangirled over Ruth Croft's Western States performance. Hecking amazing. Was really hopeful for the Kiwis at Big's backyard, but
it wasn't to be. Toby Batchelor, guess who? Ruth Croft. Put her on an Aoraki-sized pedestal, even though she really wouldn't want it. Consistently remarkable world-leading performances and a bloody great New Zealander to boot.
Rachel Tobeck, favourite performance overseas, Scotty Hawker at CCC, the UTMB week. Kiwi at home, Ruth Croft at Tarawera, 100k. Favourite race, Riverhead Relapse. Favourite FKT or non-adventure race, Ian Evans on the 100-miler wild course. So when he got out there last weekend, 2 weekends ago.
In his Hawaiian shirt.
Dawn
Tuffrey.
A run without Ian in his Hawaiian shirt.
It wouldn't be. Dawn Tuffrey. Hey team, just on performance of the year thoughts, what springs to mind is, anyone care to guess?
Andrew McDowall at North.
Yeah, obviously. Where's that one?
No, there's none here.
Weird.
Hang on, I'll scroll to the end. No, nothing. Ruth Croft at both Western States and Tarawera.
Robbie Britton, return guest this year.
Is he riding in, is he?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he flicked us a message on the Twitter. Kiwi overseas performance could be Sophie Grant at TDS.
Yeah, she did.
She had a blinding year and a bunch of good performances. She was 5th at TDS and had some other... She won a race, which has gone out of my head, about a month ago. Good year from Sophie.
Although she often does have the flag spelt wrong on her
Yeah, I know.
bib.
Yeah, she's got the flag edited out. She's got the corner of the flag.
Little Union Jack in the corner blown up real big.
Yeah.
Covering.
Clearly a typo.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but you can't be good at everything.
Yeah, but thanks, Robbie.
Absolutely. Where are we?
Say one.
Performance of the year in New Zealand, Katie Wright. Yeah, Tarawera Ultramarathon. Performance of the year by New Zealander overseas, Ruth Croft at Western States. Race of the year in New Zealand, Tarawera. That man finished, have I recounted, the most composed man in the entire world, right? So he turns up, there's a story about Say One. We've had a couple of stories about Say One this year. He turns up at the start, we sent him off. He smelt incredible. He had cologne on. He put cologne on because he was really worried that he was going to smell. I don't know why. He's considerate. He just smelled so good. I was like, you don't want to kind of draw him in and sniff his hair because it's weird, right? But he smelled so good. Finishes the race. Jean comes over, drops my poles on the ground, does a mic drop, then sort of collapses on the floor. And we're like, dude, get up. No, really, get up, dude. Dude, get up. Everyone's high-fiving and stuff. Say One's in the group. He comes over. He's picking out his ponamu. He turns around. And I'm like, man, that was amazing. And he just shakes my hand. And he goes, it's good to see you. like he'd just been to the shops or something. Like, still smelt incredible.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, he's just...
He's a hell of a nice guy.
He's an amazing dude. Performance of the year, yeah, Katie Wright. We've been through that. Tarawera, race of the International Western States, non-race FKT, Te Araroa, Brooke Thomas.
Chris McKean, colleague of mine at Stuff, says, personally, I've got to give props to the New Zealand's NZ Stuff events team who turned around the Round the Bays 2021 event in such a manner that instead of grunting Round the Bays, they did a virtual version of it, and he got to go to Shakespeare instead for a few hours. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it, but events staff this year really are the MVPs, aren't they?
Last and not least, Gareth Morris from Klangholm. Speaking of someone who feels like they got hit by a bus this morning after filming a few laps, my vote for Adventure of the Year has to go to Madeline Collins' Karamatura Accumulator Challenge, which she competed in superb style last night.
Woo, go Madeline.
Yeah. So, that's what the people say. Andrew McDowall, Matt Raymond, what do you say?
Oh, pretty much that. It's hard to argue with that, isn't it?
And that's Dirt Church Radio for another week. No. Yeah, I mean, obviously some themes came through there, but were there others that came through for you?
Are we talking about international?
Well, let's do performance of the year in New Zealand. I mean, we've heard, Ruth Croft at Tarawera, Katie Wright and Fiona Hayvice at Tarawera 100 Mile, that ding dong battle.
Yeah, I was lucky to. I had my next door neighbour who's right there. He was running around about the same time as them, so I happened.
He's one of the people that you were pacing in.
Yeah, I found
You're allowed to.
I found him later.
Shout out to Hutch. I found him.
But because he was coming into Blue Lake and he was also at the Redwoods end of the finish at around the same time as Katie and Fee were battling it out, I got to watch them coming in.
Yeah.
And I know them both pretty well now, and they're just utterly wonderful, friendly, warm people. Yeah. But to see them both in full noise race mode was just
game face on.
Awesome. Like it's this focus, and having them, they were so close at each aid station, and they had switched as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about a battle or a duel, which is generally what makes a race what it is, then I don't think we've had anything like it this year. So,
nothing like it. And it seems like it's interesting, isn't it, knowing Fiona, who is generally, again, warm, wonderful, amazing. It feels like there's less of a gap for her going into race mode, because when you see her planning, how granular she is about everything and how serious, she's an elite athlete. Seeing Katie in that mode was really, really surprising. And then actually seeing Katie at the finish line, because I've been at a few finish lines with her, seeing her lose her mind and she was rolling around on the ground, like shrieking, like actually had a moment where I was like, wow, I haven't seen, are you okay? This pat on the shoulder there. It really was quite a fantastic, seeing Ruth Croft at the top of Tukurangi Pa Road, that was like, in terms of, I was lucky enough to see that. I went for a run after my shift on the mic and ran up Tukurangi Pa and thought, I'll meet people coming in, it'd be really cool, check it out. And I got to a place and there were a couple of marshals there on the steps, and they were like, when's the lead guy coming through? And that's what they were saying, when's the lead guy coming through? And I, in that moment, turned around, I was like, there she is, and it was Ruth, and she was like, what? And just, you'll see you'll hear the interview that's coming up, and when we talked to her, the affect was the same, the tone of voice was the same. She was just super composed, She was like, what are you doing up here? And then just down the steps and gone. Just pretty hard to beat that. I
want to throw another couple of names around.
Go on.
Yeah. Kanoka Izumi.
Yeah.
At Northburn, and you would have seen her there, fourth overall?
That sounds right. Yeah.
She had a great race there. And another couple of great... Didn't she come to Rivram?
She came to Rivram. She was fourth there. She was at Relapse. She did incredibly well there. And props to her. I was going to med school on the Monday morning, walking up the hill, and there I see this person hammering along Grafton Road, and I thought that person looks familiar. Who's that on the other side of the road? And it was Kanoka. It was Kanoka.
Wow.
just doing a lazy tempo run after her. Yeah.
Wow. Reece Johnson, what a breakthrough performance of his.
Absolutely.
At Tarawera, and Chris Bisley at Riverhead Relapse.
Yeah, that was exceptional.
That's a good one, yeah.
Chris and Sam, that was, again, I was there. Maybe I have had a really lucky year in that sense. Like I've been at
okay. So we're actually bad news for races, but you're good news. You're like a good luck charm for an actual great performance.
Well, Katie wanted
if you want to have a great performance.
Katie wanted to take me to Tennessee. She's like, "You're actually my good luck charm." It appears, and I was like, "Okay, I'll just tell that to the wife." Going to Tennessee with Katie, right? What are you going to do there? Nothing. Just be there. Just. Hey man, I don't do, I am, okay? But yeah, that was incredible. And I actually got to the point, but by no means disrespectful, just looking at these two athletes and going, I don't think this is going to end, and I'm quite tired. You know, I'd like to go to bed. And there's just no sign. You're sort of like, oh, you're just keeping on going. But yeah, Chris was incredible. That was an incredible
I think he was up for a few more.
Oh, no, there's no doubt. There is no doubt.
Yeah, he just seemed so tuned in and dialed in, and he was talk about nutrition. You know, he seemed to be having that absolutely down pat. Even deep into the race, he was still eating well. Doing everything right, wasn't he?
Yeah, but we don't want to big him up too much.
How many times are you going to be racing him?
Got to keep the niggle there. He's a cyclist at the moment. That's what you are, Chris. You're a cyclist.
Incredibly good-looking cyclist. No, and Sam, he brought a real not different. Yeah, he did bring a different energy to that race.
Yeah,
sparky, and talk about niggle. There was definitely some.
Yeah, and he had a good performance at Crazy K's.
Yes, he did.
He did. Came in and then just took off on that last lap. So some good performances this year. Performance of the year by Kiwi overseas. I think we've heard all the names, haven't we?
Scottish CCC, Ruth Croft. I mean, they're both awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Scotty's performance was incredible for the fact that, his year hadn't gone to plan, had it? I mean, broken ankle or nearly, might as well have been a broken ankle, and just the road back that he had with dealing with all that stuff. Just an incredible win.
And that emotion just came, like we talked about earlier, it just came out at the finish line. You could see it meant a lot to him. Other Kiwi performances overseas, Robbie mentioned Sophie Grant, 5th at TDS.
Yeah. That's a tough course.
Yeah, she broke a finger during the race, and there was that tragedy in TDS as well.
Yes.
She got through.
She was ahead of that.
Yeah. Any other nominations there, people?
I got
nothing right now. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. New Zealand Race of the Year, as defined by vibe, atmosphere, etc. It's been tough again for race organisers this year, and just a quick shout out to those who do it hard in the trenches, organising races. You've had a couple of experiences. Which this year, like last, has meant a lot of cancellations, a lot of postponements, stressing about whether it will go ahead. And we talked to Madeline about that the other week, didn't we? About putting on races, not knowing if people are actually going to turn up, because nobody's entering races like they used to. Everything's changed. So organisers are having to stress about whether people are going to turn up. So just a big, shout out and a cheers. Cheers. Can we get some clinking action going here? Yep.
Do it by the mic.
Do it by the mic. Yeah, there we go. To race organisers everywhere. But, for you, Andrew?
I think it's just too opinion-based. Not sure I want to answer this question, because obviously
it's a podcast. It's all opinion-based.
Yeah, because they all have different vibes.
Yeah.
Tarawera has the big stage vibe. Northburn has the community family vibe. Relapse has the endless vibe, because it's just you keep going back to the same place.
And the
every
nightclub
hour.
vibe.
Those guys on Friday night.
That was incredible. Like that was
lights.
That was incredible. Like we didn't plan that, but it seemed to just work when we just put the iPod on and just pressed play. And it's Sean Collins' 38-hour Duff mix, I think it's called, or something like that.
Beautiful.
Just let it go.
And of course, I certainly didn't attend every race this year, but they're all cool. I'm happy to beat any race, mate. Not much of an answer, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. We'd love to be at our race. U2K. It's a special little race, isn't it? Have you ever done it?
Twice.
Yes. This year was a bit different, of course, but still, I mean, it's a great atmosphere there, isn't it? Getting down, seeing the Wellington crew, and they're. Yeah.
The Wellington running scene is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I remember saying to Rebecca, we were in the car and we were driving into the stadium, and she's been to a fair few races with me over the years, and she's an RD, she puts on, relapse with us and does everything with Riverhead Rampage. And it's like, now, what you need to consider is whatever running pre-race vibe, trail runner energy, culture energy that you have ever experienced, what you need to do now is discard that and turn, because they've turned the knob up to 11 and just snapped it off. It's a real Wellington, They're so... It's I can't explain it, and it's wonderful, but you go to Wellington and you're like, okay, like people really get into it. There are people in Wellington with the coarse elevation of Wutuke tattooed on their bodies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, and I like plural, like more than one. Like it's
cool.
People take it really seriously.
And that you can run around the city and come across the markers.
That's fantastic, yeah.
Like permanent, the course is permanently marked.
I like that.
That's cool. I like that, yeah.
That's a great course. I've really enjoyed each time there.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Shout out to the GOAT. Had its first, of all the races that were cancelled this year, it was the one that actually got to run for the first time in a few years, ironically. Sort of flipped the narrative there. But that's a great little race as well. And the fact that they actually got to, Jason got to hold the race this year when they've had weather disruptions and course disruptions in previous years. But, that's back on again next year. So, just so many races to choose from, aren't there?
Yep. I think it's impossible to answer that one.
All right, then. Okay. Non-race adventure FKT of the... Did you chicken out on another category? Non-race adventure FKT of the year.
Is that a different category?
The journalist's going to come. I want answers, Mr. McDowall. Answers.
Sorry.
Non-race
Race
adventure
of the year.
FKT of the year. Come on.
Brooke Thomas.
Brooke Thomas.
Easy.
Yeah.
Surely.
57 days,
Yeah.
10 hours, new Te Araroa record.
I would have thought.
Yeah, just killed it. Like, incredible. And of course she's a nurse, so she's going to honourable mentions Madeline Collins, the Karamatura accumulator.
Amazing to the whole concept of I want to come up with something that I can do, that I can control, and it's still going to be a tough challenge, because that was a super tough challenge, month after month, having to rock up. It's like you in the second half of the year you're doing an ultra, or maybe a little bit later than the second half of the year, but you're doing an ultra every 4 weeks.
Well, after,
with massive elevation.
No, in May you're doing an ultra. No, you're not. So it's July.
Are we getting into another maths problem?
We're getting
here?
into another maths problem. But this is the thing.
Every week we back ourselves into a maths problem.
And we just can't do it because we're feelings, guys, at the end of the day. It's intoxicating, the thought of, and I've said to my coach several times, I want to do that run up Barlow Road. And he's just like, but then your training for the rest of that month is going to be, unless you're superhuman, and clearly you're not, with respect, you're done. What happens come when you're leading up to Kepler, and then the month before Kepler you run 77 kilometres arbitrarily on a Saturday to, So respect.
But she was doing it with the Revenant.
100%.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Tom Hunt. We were out running the other day, and I was talking about the Revenant with him, and he just said how, and think about an athlete like Tom, who just became sort of, his body just revolted against him. He was like, no, I everything that's inside me, I want it to come out of me now, and he said that because the race was that sort of tough, and he was trying to keep up with Sean, who was just savagely attending to his goal. I want to talk about Matt Girvin, Scottish National Trail FKT. Amazing effort by a New Zealander overseas, and also for the most New Zealand end to the FKT ever. He gets to the lighthouse at Cape Wrath, which is a suitably epic sounding.
What a name,
Where do you
man.
live? Have you ever lived anywhere epic?
Pukekohe East.
I used to live at Hell's Gate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my address was like Hell's Gate. That was pretty cool. But it's not Cape Wrath. Eugene Bingham, Cape Wrath. Gets to Cape Wrath. It's dark. The lighthouse keeper found him huddled against the base of the lighthouse.
That's right.
Let him sleep on the floor in the cafe, and then in the morning he just sort of got up and didn't say that he'd just run, and hiked back to the ferry. Just the most New Zealand endeavour.
Yeah. Ellie Ernst and Katie Wright did the Tararoa Tarn Range SK 22:36. Ellie Ernst and Matt Bailey did the Ruahine 1600s, 20 hours and 34 minutes. Basically anything that Ellie Ernst did this year was a pretty epic adventure. Ryan Carr did his road from Amberley to Tongaredo to do the goat, ran the goat.
Oh, that's right.
Came second. Then on his way back home, decided to have a go at a
Main range
SK.
That's right.
On his bike, with his bike, had to stay in the car park, didn't he? He had to stay in his tent.
No, he didn't stay at his tent. He just on a sleeping bag, on a sleeping mat. And what did he say? I woke up feeling like I was going through an autopsy.
That's right. It's pretty epic.
This is a man who he's a shepherd for a living. This is a hard dude, and he's just
one Resilience Ultra.
Yes.
Got one. The Jumbo Holdsworth.
He did.
So he had a pretty good year. And a couple of great adventures.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I just want to do a quick personal shout out to Harry Sanders, who I ran with on Thursday as he was in day 4 of doing a 7 and 7 marathon. I think 23-year-old young teacher decided to do it. Started outside his school and was doing it to raise money for kids out west, for the back to school project, but also to get them fed. And he handled it like a trooper. Ran his fastest run was his last one. Absolutely stormed home. But what was really cool was seeing how excited he got when, because the kids had finished school and they would be, because he was running it locally, they were at home and they'd come running out to the gate to go, "Hey, Mr. Sanders, yay!" And he loved it, and it was so cool to see. So well done, Harry. Global performances. You wanted to talk specifically about some global performances this year.
I do, Matt.
No, dude, and I think we have a commonality here. Go, Andrew.
I'll just get my
notes,
my cliff
something
notes.
you prepared earlier.
Something because I don't want to screw this up. If we're talking non-Kiwis.
Globally, yeah.
Because the rest of the world actually got to have some decent races this year, didn't they?
They did.
Sanya, Alexander, whatever you want to call him, Sorokin. Obviously the big 24-hour world record.
Yeah.
That
bolt from the blue.
Yanis Kouros said was not going to be beaten for a generation. Yeah. And, he wasn't far off, but 309 kilometres in 24 hours is just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
4.5 minute average pace, somewhere around there. Just
given that no one had gone over 300 kilometres before.
Well, Kouros had.
Apart from Kouros.
Yeah, and also, what is it? A shout out to old Andrei. I've no idea how to say his last name. Chuk, because he ran the third furthest ever in the same race. 295 kilometres. And of course, Sorokin's also in the same year got the 100-mile world record in 11 hours 14, which is insane. And at the same race, he got the 12-hour world record, which is 170 kilometres. And I just love the backstory from him, 220 pounds he was. He was a smoker, drinking too much, and he lost his job in the pandemic.
Yeah, in the casino.
Crazy, man.
He worked in the casino. He was in the casino.
So there's hope for all of us. I think that's what we can do.
Up until recently, he was 220 pounds.
No, I don't know how
so
recent
this is because surely this is a decade or so.
Yeah, it would be a decade. Yeah. But
it wasn't like he lost his job, put his ciggy out,
and then just smashed.
I'm gonna start running. What's this running about?
I mean, the book's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that one. That's that was pretty cool.
And the pacing of that run as well was extraordinary, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a very tiny slowdown, but almost nothing. I mean, you can't slow down. When old world record was so tough that you've just got to go.
But Kouros slowed down dramatically. Well,
yeah,
this is all comparatively
speaking.
Whereas Sorokin just kept going, and slowed down less.
I mean, I think these are all 3-hour marathons, sub 3-hour, somewhere near there. I really thought of Francois Dane with his hard rock and UTMB double to back that up. I don't think, has anyone done that? I don't think so.
Don't think so. And he's going back next year to hard rock. And Killian's going back to hard rock.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the clockwise where Killian's got the record. So, you know.
Yeah, we've got a Kiwi in that too, I think. Or in the waitlist, maybe? I'm not sure.
Yes, no, in the race.
In the race?
Yeah. She made it, yeah.
That's super cool. Stephanie Case, just because her story was so cool, you know, getting jumped by a donkey. Third overall in the Tour de Glaciers. That was amazing. And my other one was just females in general getting 15 out of the top 30 at Western States.
Yeah.
It was my big four. But Sorokin, for me, is the individual athlete of the year, as far as I'm concerned.
Sorokin for me as well. I thought that was the immediate thing that came to mind. I mean, obviously Ruth Croft, and he was just, there was that, what was he, 2 minutes in the toilet?
Was he?
Or something, it's some ridiculous, it was something
I have
ridiculous.
Unfortunately been in races where I have seen people using the bathroom at full speed.
Yes, oh no.
And it's not ideal.
No.
But that is a way of avoiding toilet stops.
Yeah, I didn't care about my world record that much when I attempted it, so I was just like...
No, Camille Herron had no stops in her 100-mile record the other week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Set the broke her world record.
Broke her own record. At the Desert Solstice. Nick Curry, I love Nick Curry, new American record. And out of the brothers, so him and Jamil are for pyro running.
Yep.
You know, and Jamil is the more, perhaps, and I don't say this with any disrespect or judgment, or is the more famous brother. But, you know, he's in all the Barclay stuff, and you know, he has more of a kind of media presence. But Nick going out there and just demolishing that American record, pretty impressive.
Yeah, amazing. And I mean, the American runners at those 24-hour runners are all so good. So to sort of be on top of all of that is it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So I think for me, Sorokin you can't take away from, but from this year, lumping together 15 of the top 30 women were women at Western States. The performances of Ruth, performances of Katie and Fiona and so on. Look at all the great performances from women we've talked about this year. I think, you know, for me that's one thing that stands out for me from 2021 is
the equaling
girl power.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Oh, certainly. You know, you're in a start line now, especially the longer distances. Everyone is there, is your competition. There's no doubt about it.
All right, we do not have a greatest run ever this week because it's our special show, but also you, not pointing at you, sorry,
you
Andrew,
personally listening have let us down.
Yeah. This is the first time ever. This is 172 episodes. First time ever we don't have one. So you look, you've got the summer. I don't want any excuses. I want you to sit down and write your greatest run ever and send it in to us.
Go have a greatest run ever if you haven't had one.
That's right.
No cheating on us with other podcasts
You've
while
got
we're
a
away.
few weeks to do it. Send them in to us. So
do you have one? You had one.
A cheating podcast.
Well, are you cheating on us with other podcasts?
Oh, yeah. Hard.
Wow.
No, Andrew's got one, but we're going to save it.
Right.
Yeah. Because he didn't actually write it into us, so it doesn't count. So we'll save it up.
Oh, okay.
No, we're going to save it up. We're going to save it up. So send them into us, dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. You know the routine. It doesn't have to be a race or a mountain summit. It might just be the time you ran around the block or you came second at Northburn or something. Something that's sung to you for some reason.
It's not that.
Oh, it's not that. Oh, okay, yeah. I think your last one was Coast to Koskai.
Oh, my goodness. Get out.
dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. Send them in. Right. Ruth Croft.
Yes.
On to our interview, Ruth Croft. I mean, what a year she's had. She was your top performance of the year at the Churchies. Tarawera 100k outright, second at Western States, back home in New Zealand, doing the West Coast proud as always, and we had a fantastic chat with her. So here it is. Please enjoy our conversation with Ruth Croft. Dirt Church Radio. So, from the west coast of the South Island, we have returning champion, returning Dirt Church guest, Ruth Croft. Kia ora, Ruth. Welcome back to Aotearoa. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Well, we were just saying there's 3 of us in the same room together, so we're getting a bit, I feel a bit edgy with them.
Air system's not great in here
No,
either,
it's
guys.
not.
Sorry.
Is it a negative pressure room? I'm not sure. Anyway, that's enough Auckland lockdown jokes. I mean, you've had a huge year. How you feel? What are you up to, basically? You having some recovery time? What have you been doing?
I've pretty much, so go back to the West Coast and pretty much back into training, really. But it doesn't really feel like training because I've did the Paparoa last weekend and then went over the Heafy yesterday. So those sort of runs where, time just goes pretty fast. But I think during the year after Western States, I had like 3 weeks off. And then after Les Templiers, I had like 2 weeks of completely nothing. So I was at the point where I was pretty much ready to get back into training when I got back.
Usually you head off for a meditation retreat, and has that been possible this year? Is it because of COVID?
So I did that after Western States for a week in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And so I did, I normally try to do it once a year. So I did it then. And then pretty much after, Les Templiers, I was finishing up my course I was doing and we were packing, and then it was straight back to New Zealand. So not as much time.
So 2 MIQs, is that right? You've done 2 tours?
Yeah.
Do you get little stripes or something when you check out?
We realised we had it pretty damn good last year at Rotorua and the Sedema.
Yeah.
There was definitely no way we could do the 20K around the car park this year at the Novotel in Auckland. It was a lot stricter.
They were making you walk. They were making you walk, weren't they? They wouldn't even let you run. Is that right?
Well, we just got our blue wristband, so we'd missed the morning 30-minute run slot, so we were only allowed to walk. But you could choose between a 30-minute run, a 45-minute walk, but if you smoked, it was 4 times 15-minute breaks. So we were considering taking up smoking for the week and running on the spot. It didn't quite get to that.
Wow. A ciggy, a 15-minute interval section, and then a session, and then you back into it. Wow.
Just hold it away from your face.
That's right.
Yeah.
Go running.
As we said at the top, you've had a huge year. What was the fallout from Western States? I mean, obviously you came on Dirt Church Radio, which probably, you don't want to talk about pinnacles, but the rest of the stuff, how did your phone blow up? How hot was it? What was it like sort of managing the fallout from coming second at Western States?
I don't know. I didn't think it was a massive shift or anything like that. It was, I talked to you guys, did a few podcasts and that, and then kind of switched off for a week and did a silent meditation retreat, and then kind of fell back into normalcy. So sorry to report, it wasn't like a massive change from previously.
Oh no, I don't think it's a bad. It feels quite it must have been quite reassuring that it didn't sort of. Well, is it a good thing or a bad thing that it wasn't like?
Well, you've done a gig, right, where you've been on stage and you've been like rock star on the stage and gone, and then you walk backstage and you're totally that perfectly normal person again.
Yeah,
it's probably a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Rocking it out.
Yeah, rocking.
Not sure if that analogy works.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
What band was Ruth playing for in this scenario?
Like the big stage, Western Stage is the concert.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Never mind. We can edit that out of it.
Maybe Grateful Dead because it was like 15 plus hours.
Anyway, right. Sorry. Yeah. I wondered how long it was going to take to get a band chat between you two. But so I'm really sorry, Ruth. I apologise.
This is a running podcast. So
So Tarawera. You the win got plenty of headlines, woman beats man, men kind of stuff, but you had a really interesting take on it, provoking a discussion really around how we should, regard women's results properly, normally. Sorry, I'm completely muntering this, but in ultra terms, are we, if you look at, are we nearly there? Have we got a long way to go? Where are we in terms of recognising and encouraging women in the sport?
I think it's definitely getting a lot more exposure, I would say, women in sport. And it is improving, but I think we still have a bit of room for improvement. It was just maybe a couple of years ago, I did a race in Italy, and they had a time bonus for anyone who broke 2 hours, which the men's record was, I think, 2:01, and that Killian had done that. But there was no female equivalent, and their example was that, well, if a female broke 2:01, then we would give them the bonus. But again, it's just noticing that there should be a female and a male standard to break. But then I think, like the exposure that Tarawera got this year, it was like, at the end of the day, it's great. It's like any exposure that women get in sport, I think it's always a good thing.
Yeah. It's I mean, we just still do have a long way to go, don't we, in terms of numbers, in terms of participation, being able to create an environment where more women want to enter races, and we're seeing it better. And we saw at Western States, what was it, 15 in the top 30, which was fantastic. And that must have been pretty exciting to be part of that.
Yeah, it was awesome to be a part of that. And then you just have to look at races, even like UTMB, and that they now have a cameraman following the lead man and the lead female. So again, there's always improvements being made, which is great to see.
Yeah.
That was pretty, you could tell they were working really hard to try and keep it evenly represented during UTMB. I thought it was really good.
And like even Golden Trail, they're doing that as well. They're trying really hard, and even had I think they had some races where the females started first, and so then the females were getting that kind of a bit more spotlight until then they switched to the men's race.
Yeah. How was Europe this year?
It was great. Yeah, it was. I think we were just talking about it with Martin and our timing. Like we kind of went to the US and things were just starting to open up, and then went to Europe and the same thing. Things were opening up, and then we've kind of just left Europe, and it sounds like things are getting worse there. So, but I think for the most part, races went ahead. There was always if you entered a race, you either had to be vaccinated or prove a negative COVID test, or that you'd recovered from the virus. So it felt like a lot of more normalcy this year compared to the previous years.
And masks at the start line, and then I saw people rip them off as soon as they, got 20 meters down the track.
Yeah.
It's a real hard one to get right, I think, with masks. And I know for myself, wearing a mask all day, every day at work, it feels kind of odd, and I'm not making any sort of judgment or stance on it, going into a restaurant, say, walking in with a mask on, sitting down, taking the mask off, and I felt like that was sort of the same in those races. You're in the corral, you're all in your masks on, and then you're respiring really, really heavily with your mask off, and at the same time I understand how, times have changed, right? Like there's this whole thing of sort of people want to yearn back to this new normal, or want to yearn back to it being normal again, and I don't think it will. I think we're not going to I can't see us sort of slipping back into just like it was before.
Not anytime soon.
No. What other? I mean, how are things comparing to sort of when you were in Europe to coming back? Where are we in terms of has it sort of evened out now that things are getting more hectic in Europe, or are we still kind of...
According to the news, things are getting worse. I know some countries are going into lockdown. It was different coming back to New Zealand, where I think in Europe everyone's they've just learnt to live with it. I think it's always been a part of the community from day one. And then coming back to New Zealand, and I felt like New Zealand is very consumed by COVID at the moment. There's just a lot of talk about it. And then, just a lot of COVID chat we've found in New Zealand for a part.
It is. I mean, I guess it's this thing, isn't it? It's hard not to feel sort of consumed by it and at the same time a bit fatigued by it.
Yeah. Well, especially for you guys in Auckland.
Yeah.
We need to get back to weather chat. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Weather's feeling jealous.
Yeah, God, it's humid. Is it still in level 4? Oh.
Is it going to rain tomorrow? Yeah.
Can I ask a running question?
What?
I know.
Okay.
Sorry.
How many of these have you listened to?
Yeah, Ruth. So you when you take your 2 weeks or so off, roughly speaking, after these big races, it's something that us sort of amateurs are really bad at doing. I don't know, maybe speaking personally, I always feel like I just want to get back on the horse really, really quickly. Do you find that when you do get back into it, you quite quickly get back up to where you were before? Do you feel like 2 weeks makes a huge difference to your fitness or anything like that?
Like I had 3 weeks off completely and it felt just absolutely awful when I got back into running after Western States. I think maybe if I'd done a bit more just like easy jogs and that, the transition wouldn't have been so bad.
Okay.
But I really wanted to take that complete time off. And I think, I think it's just good mentally and physically to totally step away. I was listening to a podcast actually with Rory Darkins. He's a mental performance coach, and he was just saying, with your passion, whatever it be it running, it's important to know whether it's like obsessive or you live with it like it's harmonious. So you're able to step away from it and then not feel like you have to do that activity. It's more that you get to do that, and it doesn't, your whole life's not kind of like centered around it. It's not addiction, it's not obsessive. And then obviously if you're living in harmonious relationship with it, it's obviously a good thing for your overall well-being.
True. It's a fine balance, I find sometimes. Trying to, have breaks when you know you should.
Yeah.
But then your brain's saying, "Oh, you're gonna
lose all that.
You're gonna
fitness.
waste all that
Yeah.
time you spent getting to that point," and it's a little internal battle.
Well, I think after a race, it's a lot of the time it's you perform badly, so you like want to get straight back into training to make up for things, or even if you perform well, you're like you've got a lot of momentum going, so you also want to keep building on that. But after an ultra, like the best thing you can do for your body is completely rest. Like it's easy swimming or easy bikes, but if you want to improve as a runner, you've got to be able to train, but you've also got to be able to rest.
Yeah, I feel seen.
Wise words, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about?
I'm glad we're
the
recording
one good
that.
performance I had, or the 40 or 50 bad ones?
Also, I want to say thank you for listening to a podcast. It might have been with you guys, other people. Might have been another podcast. I'm sorry. Talking about adding strength work into your training, and it's one of those again. That little voice on your shoulder that says you really should be going to the gym occasionally and not just running all the time. And I finally did it, and I've got to say it is one of the best things I've ever done. So, and that's
nice
all
work.
because I listened to a podcast where you said it's a good idea. So thank you.
What does that look like
Nice
for you?
work.
What does strength work look like? What do you do?
So I work with Val Burke, who's based out of Wanaka, and she also coaches like Braden Curry and that, and she's always done my strength work from I think 2017. But kind of in the off season is I would do more, and then as I start competing, it kind of gets a bit to like more maintenance work. But it's essentially like some range to begin with, then like glute activation, and then you're kind of targeting every kind of muscle group. So you'll do like your calves, hamstrings, quads, like lots of squats, lunges. And then as the off season kind of progresses, the reps, it gets heavier and the reps get less. It's periodized essentially too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fitting around what you're doing with your other training.
Yeah. So it's normally 3 times a week for an hour. And it just helps like your long runs, you don't fall apart so badly, and definitely prevents those injuries.
Yeah, definitely. It does benefit the actual running as well, like preventing injuries, but also you actually become a better runner, I think. So it's a win-win.
So Western States next year?
Yeah. I think probably when I was talking to you guys last, I said wasn't so keen, but like every runner, I think we can all relate to this. You do an event, you swear you never... Yeah.
Like let's be clear, Ruth doesn't need to sign up immediately. There's no lottery.
Oh my goodness, I'm so jealous.
How many lotteries have you been in, Andrew?
Are you the most?
I had 32 tickets this year.
Is that the most in Aotearoa? Or is Tom and Goose beat you?
Tom and I are the
two of you
same.
were the same, yeah.
So,
32 tickets.
So how many years is that?
I've lost count. It's like 5 or 6.
Oh, no. Well, there's a golden ticket up for grabs this year, though.
I'm running the miler, so I'm not doing the 100K. I'll get wasted anyway.
Just drop down, win it, and then go to Western States.
Easy.
What was I thinking?
Easy, man.
Yeah. Sorry, Ruth.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Enough about my problems.
Come top 10 at Western States when you win, and then you can go
64 tickets next year, surely, right? Come on.
Does it double every year?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was 30% this year, so 60% next year, roughly.
Jeez.
And Hard Rocks, I'm up to like 4.5% now. It's really cool. And that's about 5 years.
So anyway, Ruth,
sorry.
you're straight back in. And so what changed your mind? Well, I mean, obviously straight afterwards, it probably wasn't a good time to ask you, but what's convinced you to go back?
I think it was just after it, you start reflecting on the race, and I think most runners be the same as well. You think of the areas that you could improve. And so I think it's definitely unfinished business. And I think also going back into it, mentally knowing that I can finish 100 miles, you can kind of erase that kind of aspect of it. And I just had fun. I enjoyed it. A different challenge. And I just want to have another crack at it.
Cool.
What are your plans for summer?
So we're on the coast for a bit, and then I'm going to do Kepler. So I was, one good thing coming out of Corona was that Kepler got pushed.
Yeah.
Well, for me, that is mid-January. And then possibly something at Tarawera. And then I'd like to kind of do a road-specific build-up for Western States again. I'm not sure if I'll race on the road, but just similar training, and then probably head over to the US around May. So it's the plan at the moment.
Wow. So something at Tarawera, is there anything, do you know?
I'm not sure. Maybe the 50K, I don't think, because it is pretty, I think it's only a month out from Kepler as well. So.
Yeah, you shouldn't do the miler. Don't do the miler.
I know.
We don't
I think
want to all get
100
wasted.
milers. No. I think the cap of 100 milers is one a year. For me, that is.
Yeah, and if you've got to choose, no offense to Tarawera.
Yeah. So back to the road. So similar to last year, being more road specific in terms of your training?
Yeah. Be the plan, just to work on leg speed and that, because it kind of correlates to Western States.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone says Western States is runnable. What was is that how you found it? That
Yes, so super runnable, butter smooth, not technical at all. And then it's just like conditioning yourself for it's a net downhill of I think 7,000 meters.
Yeah.
So it's just conditioning yourself to that.
Which is where the strength work helps a lot too, doesn't it? So your legs aren't destroyed when you're running downhill. There you go. Another reason.
You got it.
Where does it feel like with your, and I use the word career because you're a professional athlete, that things are moving into a new phase with you in terms of, this will be the second year that you've come back to have a crack at Western States. I mean, do you have a plan, or do you kind of work things sort of year by year?
I feel like I've had some form, loose plan. It was always to do the shorter stuff, and then I think I did that and then was ready for something different, and then the plan was then to switch it up and step it up to ultras, and I'd like to do Western States again, and then I would like to give UTMB a go, but I think I need a bit more experience around the shorter time-wise kind of 100 milers first before doing something like UTMB. So there's a general plan there.
Inching up the mountain.
You might need to get the poles out.
Exactly. Yeah. Take them for
we know how you feel about poles.
Take them for a walk.
That's right. Which sounds ridiculous when you say that. I mean, we saw the pace that you were speed walking around the car park in the Rivertown, and that doesn't sort of compute to normal humans.
I think if you had 45 minutes a day outside, you'd be able to walk that fast.
That's right.
Hey, Ruth, thank you so much for joining us again. Congratulations on an amazing year, and we can't wait to see what you do next year as well, and wish you all the best.
Thanks. We see you guys in the Bitter Island this summer.
No, we're in the Bitter Island.
Oh. Are we allowed out yet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think we are.
You guys should come to Northburn. Go on.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Come
I've
on.
had nothing on this year. It's been sweet as. Like, my masters I dropped out of. Yeah, we've had a bit on.
I'm sure they will, Ruth.
Yeah,
I'll have a wee chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honest, for me, and I know this is I honestly don't feel I'm in a place to make any plans yet at all.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I live day to day at the moment, and I've been lucky in that I've been able to go out every day.
Yeah.
And although it feels like, some days you're going out to get beaten with a baseball bat every day at work, it's like, and that's a metaphor, it's not a literal thing that happens. I still don't feel like I can put any plans in place at all. Like, yeah. So I'd love to, but what are you gonna, Sorry for a serious answer to a flippant question, but it's
That was a question.
It's that sense of, I don't know. How do you feel about that, Andrew? I mean,
Mate, I'd jump on a plane tomorrow if I could.
But that's not planning, is it? That's
that's
actually not a plan. That's
kind of a plan.
That's an impulsive decision. You're saying I would make an impulsive decision if the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I've entered a whole bunch of races, and
Wow.
they're not next door. So
No.
I suppose I have made a plan. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. You gotta. Yeah. Just if you get the chance to go.
Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway,
Well, yeah.
sorry.
Short answer is actually yes. So we are planning to. Will they do Kepler in December as well? Because we can't make it down for January.
I'm sure they will.
I don't know. I assume it would probably change, go
it'll
back
go
to
back.
it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
then if you're around,
Yeah.
then definitely you'll see us down in the Bitter Island.
Don't forget about old Ghost, guys.
Yeah, what about old Ghost? I feel like I asked you about this every,
Thanks for
every
mentioning
time.
that, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deja
I thought we were
vu,
going to
Ruth.
get through a conversation with Ruth without you bringing it up.
We've
and
done this before.
Stabbing us in the heart about it.
Exactly. No, oh gosh, would be lovely as well.
But yeah. It sure would be. And
Thank you for highlighting our lack of commitment.
Moving along.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
all right.
Would you like to come and try a race I've won?
Oh yeah.
Is this in the North Island?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is
meant
you
you.
talking to me. I've never run. I've never won a race, mate.
Anyway,
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you guys too. Have a
Let's
good
say
night.
goodnight, Martin. Okay. See ya.
Will do. See you.
Thanks, Ruth. I still get a little bit starstruck, as you could tell from my stumbling questions to her. And she's so generous with her time, coming on Dirt Church all the time, giving us stick every year.
I love
all the
it.
time.
I love
it.
how proud she is of the West Coast.
Absolutely.
And yeah, there's no comeback against that sort of.
No, we're running out of excuses. Right. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're on social media at Dirt Church Radio. You can email us dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. You can find us on all the podcast platforms. Like and subscribe if you fancy. You can download direct from the website, dirtchurchradio.com. Don't forget, the thread is there. Send in your greatest run ever.
We're not angry. We're disappointed.
We're disappointed.
I'm going to do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
everyone-
wasn't looking at you directly.
Everyone says
I was
that,
speaking
though.
to the readers.
Everyone says that.
To the
Look,
listeners.
It's done. in
We'd
my
love
head.
to hear from you, and you can read them on the
And
website
so many
too.
people say to us, "Oh, it's my favourite part of the show." Well,
Absolutely.
how do you think it happens? You send them in.
Thanks to our sponsors, Scott Running, Further Faster, Cieli. Thank you to our Patreon patrons, and thank you to Wild Things. Thank you to our editor, Kieran, and thank you to Andrew for accepting our invitation to invite us to your very wonderful studio.
Always a pleasure, Chips.
So we're going to be back mid-January. We're going to do what Ruth did. We're going to take a break.
We are.
We're going to take a
We're
break.
not going on silent retreat, though.
Maybe someone will be
we
happy
should?
about us going on silent.
Sounds kind of nice.
Until then, we wish you a festive period full of love, light, and happiness. Happy training. I hope you all get muddy ankles. Thank you for joining us this year, and meri kirihimeti.
Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Thanks, Rigby.